All right. All right, I'm pretty sure we are live, actually. I see myself.
You are live.
Okay, great. Let's see here. All right, hello everyone. Actually, hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Curran. I'm the Director of Programs and Partnerships for WPLN. We are a nonprofit group that is dedicated to helping women run for office across the country and help other organizations that focus on training women get the help they need to run a really successful campaign. And today I am joined by the Bass Sisters to talk about a lot of fun things they're doing for the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. So I'm here with Dee Bass Wilbon, and Deana Bass Williams. And they are the producers for the Suffrage Sisters documentary, and they're the co-founders of Bass Public Affairs. Just so everyone knows, this year marks the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. They've organized a month-long series of events and really cool speakers through their agency and through other groups that they work with. And so we're having them here to discuss all of the fun stuff. Ladies, can you give me give the audience a little update on what's going on?
Yes, we are so excited. First of all, thank you guys so much for having us this morning. We absolutely love what you do, and we just really appreciate the opportunity to come on and share with you what we are doing for celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. All month long, we've been getting videos from men, women, children, moms and daughters reading the 19th Amendment and sharing them with us using the hashtag 19A100. And as you said earlier, we are working on a Suffrage Sisters documentary. And on Saturday, we are going to have our national Zoom celebration where we will be joined by some modern day suffragettes and suffrage sisters, right, Deana?
Right, suffrage sisters and suffragettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. They'll be sharing their views on the power of the vote and reading from some of the words of some of the famous suffrage sisters and suffragettes. So yeah, we hope that your team, your audience will join us for that Zoom celebration. And it really is to bring awareness about the history and the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment.
That's awesome. So I love the suffragettes. That's cute. So how did you even come up with the idea of the documentary and this whole series around this celebration?
Well, we've been working in this space of working in the 19th Amendment and knowing that this was coming up. And Deana and I both really just the history of the 19th Amendment and what it means to women is just amazing. And so we wanted to make sure that we were able to let everyone know, like Deana said, the history of the 19th Amendment and just do our due diligence of sharing the story, right?
Right. And a lot of people understand that I don't know that a lot of people know that this anniversary is coming. They know that the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote,
right?
Or gave a portion of the women population the right to vote. There were still obviously African American women. We still had to continue to fight, but we have been working, as Dee said, in this space for over a year now. And our mission has really just been to encourage people to celebrate this moment in American history, which is a moment that continues to help us march towards becoming that perfect union. We're not perfect yet. We were not perfect in 1920, but it is a huge milestone, and it's an important milestone. And so we have been. It kind of took us. It's kind of taken us by. We didn't realize that we were going to become this obsessed with the 19th Amendment and celebrating it. But certainly in this time in American history, we see that we are marching towards becoming that perfect union.
And even during the March of 1913, there were Black women that actually marched and participated in that march and worked in the suffrage movement, knowing that with the passing of the 19th Amendment, they would not.
Well, they really, the 19th Amendment really did give all women the right to vote.
Right.
But of course, there were areas where, you know, so we're from the South, and there were clearly
places in the world
that prohibited women from African American women from voting. So we, even in the middle of the fight for the ballot box, you know, in 1920, in 1848, in 1776, as women continue to fight for access to the ballot box, there have been women of all shapes and sizes, all stripes, all political persuasions, socioeconomic backgrounds who fought for the right to vote. And the 19th Amendment is just, you know, again, one milestone on that journey to
becoming much better.
Yes,
I agree. So I'm curious, in all of your research, digging into history, did you discover any new heroines you didn't know existed before that you're absolutely in love with now?
Well, I would say, and like I said earlier, we're Southern girls. We're from Georgia, and so, and when you read this term "Suffrage Sisters," we're not really sure where that term came from or who was the first to use it, but
certainly adopted it.
Right, and absolutely love it, because there were several women, women that supported each other and considered themselves sisters. But then there were women that we found in our research that were biological sisters that really worked tirelessly in this movement. The Rollins sisters from South Carolina.
That's an African American.
That was an African American group of sisters. There was 5 of them who worked tirelessly in this movement. And then there were the Grimke sisters, who are also from South Carolina. They were white women, and their family owned slaves, but they were the first white women known nationally to fight against, as sisters to fighting against, you know, slavery. And so when we learned,
and Dee Dee's point is, like, actually the suffrage movement, and many people realize this, the suffrage movement was actually born of the abolitionist movement. So the Grimke sisters were abolitionists first, and many of the suffragists were abolitionists first.
So those sisters, when we think about those sisters and hear about those sisters, we were so excited to learn so much more about them, and they were like, oh, we're the bad sisters.
And it really just kind of snowballed. And then one day we're sitting there like, who has the domain name Suffrage Sisters?
So we were feverishly typing. It was like, no one has it. So we have it.
So we have kind of crowned ourselves the modern day Suffrage Sisters.
I love that. Well, I'm seeing that we have a question on the comments. Who is your favorite suffragette / gents? And I was wondering, just because of the sisters thing, were there any suffrage brothers?
I don't know about suffrage. I'm sure that there were brothers. Interestingly, Frederick Douglass was a suffragette, fought tirelessly for women to gain the right to vote. And so I think he's probably our favorite.
I think he was probably suffragette.
Yes. I think that my favorite suffragist is probably Ida B. Wells, and she's one of the more popular, well-known suffragists. But as a journalist, you know, who wrote and fought for women gaining the right to vote, but also for African Americans, and the work that she did to expose lynching throughout the South. She was just courageous and bold. And in that march, the March of 1913, even as she was told that she would have to march in the back of the line, she kind of said, I don't think so. So she jumped in and marched with the women of the Alpha Suffrage
from
Chicago that she was a part of. So just her bravery. I think we take for granted that we can just go down to the local, you know, wherever the polling place is,
or wherever, just to cast our vote.
But for these women to actually advocate, to even in some cases to even speak in public, was against the law. Right. So,
and very courageous for them to do so, because they knew how important this was, and they knew that in some cases it was life or death, that they would do it because they knew, like Deana said, continuing to move forward to being that perfect union.
That's That's awesome. So your documentary is, I misspoke earlier. So the actual name of your documentary is Sisters of Suffrage, African American Women and the Right to Vote. And you guys are both producers. Is this your first documentary you've done?
You know, it is actually not. I have an MFA in film, so so I've worked on independent documentaries and worked on projects of my own. This is the first one that we have fully collaborated on together from start to finish. So it's been a labor of love, and yeah, we're excited about it.
Great. So when did you actually start the process? I'm kind of a film geek in and of myself. So like what is the process you go through to make and launch a documentary?
Well, for us, we want to be passionate and dispassionate about the history of the 19th Amendment. And by that, we mean, we just want to tell the raw truth. We want to,
some of it's pretty and some of it's not
so pretty. And so we don't want to get hung up on, not exposing some of the flaws of some of the women in the movement who we continue to respect and love for what they did for the right to vote. But we did want to tell, the kind of unvarnished story of African American women in the pursuit to the ballot box. And a lot of it is glorious and wonderful, and it's exciting, and it certainly paints a picture of America as the greatest nation on the planet. Like there's no nation that has, this experiment in democracy. There's no nation that has succeeded in the way that we are succeeding. And so even telling that story has been rewarding. So
that's awesome. What are the main takeaways you're hoping that anyone who watches this film comes away with?
I would say for me, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I think that I want people to come away looking at the documentary, just knowing that, like Deana said earlier, the 19th Amendment was not the end, but that it was the beginning, and that we celebrate it because it was just one more step for us to continue to move forward. We celebrate Juneteenth, 4th of July. It was an opportunity for us to continue to move forward, to continue to be a much better nation. And just learning about the courageous women, what they did, why they did it, and why it is so very important. Doesn't matter what side you're on, but that you exercise that right to vote, and the importance of exercising that right to vote, and not taking it for granted, and just letting your voices be heard.
Yeah, I think that's it for me as well. Just really, we want people to take away from it that people fought for this right, and we should not take it for granted. Vote for everything, dog catcher to president. So we believe that the power of the vote is hugely important, and people, bled for us to have it.
Literally.
I have another comment from our viewers. Do you think women will be encouraged this year to vote in larger numbers? And why do you think voter participation in the US is not 100%?
So do we think that women will vote?
I think that, again, we believe that certainly yesterday was a big day in terms of Senator Harris being placed on the national ticket, a minority woman on a national ticket. That's huge, and we do believe that will excite people, excite women to get engaged and to vote. We hope that it inspires people on both sides of the aisle to engage in the process, and for women on both sides of the aisle to be engaged in leadership and in running for public office. I think that, whether you support their politics, which we openly say that we don't, whether you support their politics or not, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris have certainly shown that women can move to the highest levels of public office, and that's great. We believe, I guess the long and short answer is that, we think that women will definitely be encouraged participate more. But
and think they will agree with me, but we want to continue to encourage people to vote. And we always say attack policy, not people, but we want to continue to encourage people to learn, to understand and know what you support and what's going to be best for you and your family.
Right.
And it's not an individual, and it's not, and so look at that individual, look at that ticket, look at their policies. And if you support those policies, then absolutely vote for whoever it is. If they're doing the things that are going to enrich your family and your life, vote for in your community, vote for that, vote for that ticket. But I definitely do think that it's going to spark and excite people, and it should. This is a historic moment, and the fact that it's happening, that it happened yesterday, and that we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, women getting the right to vote this year. I just think it's an amazing thing, an amazing time.
I totally agree. I feel like when, regardless of political ideologies, when you see someone that looks like you in a position of leadership, it changes your whole paradigm of you can now see yourself in a position like that. So I see this as a total positive. And I understand through your work, through Bass Public Affairs, you guys are often called upon to help identify candidates for government positions or for leadership positions within the private sector. Can you tell me more about your work just helping to recruit and promote more diverse and conservative leaders in that space?
Sure. I came to DC almost 20 years ago, and my first jobs on the Hill and in politics was really coalition building, bringing diversity of thought to Capitol Hill offices, and then moved over and worked for Kay Coles James, who's now the president of the Heritage Foundation, but she started an African American think tank, the Gloucester Institute, and so that was, Dee Dee also was a consultant for Kay, and in that space we were trying to increase the diversity of thought even in the African American community. And so over the last, probably 10 years, we are often called on to, about people who on K Street, on the Hill, in government, who do want to be forward facing and seek more diversity in their offices. So we actually thought, why don't we do something by launching a resume bank? So we have recently launched a resume bank that people can submit their resumes to us at Bass Public Affairs, and we actively share these with offices that are recruiting and that are looking for diverse staff. But this resume bank is really open for anyone who's interested, because we do get, you don't have to be a minority, you don't have to be a woman. We do have a passion for working with millennials, women, and minorities. Like those three audiences are important for us, but we welcome everyone to be a part of the resume bank.
That's awesome. What's the best way for somebody to shoot you their resume?
If they go to basspublicaffairs.com, there is a button that says
Resume Bank,
BPA Resume Bank, and you can just, an easy upload and attachment, and we really do actively source those resumes to people who we know are looking for jobs. And then again, it never fails, at least once or twice a month we do get active calls of people who are trying to find diversity of thought, marketplace of ideas, and excellent candidates.
Absolutely. Well, so we kind of skipped over this at the very beginning. You both have such interesting careers. So I would just like to know what you both are most proud of from accomplishing over your careers. And this is kind of a great way to explain to everybody your path to where you are now.
I would say I am most proud of the fact that this year we're celebrating, and in our BPA newsletter at the we have what we call hashtag BPA Bless 13.
That's right.
And people like Bless 13, like what is that? And 13, you always think of 13 as a scary number or whatever, you know what I mean? I feel like my kid, a scary number. But 5 years came by, we didn't celebrate. 10 years came by, we were still busy building the business. But now we're like 13 years to be a woman-owned, Black-owned business, in business for 13 years, doing what we love, and working together with my sister, my best friend, my first playmate. It's been an absolute, it's just an absolute blessing. I'm excited about it. And I think that a lot of people look at us and like, how can you work with your sister? And my response, I think Deana's response too, is how can I not? You know, it's how can I not?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think the thing that I am most proud of, we grew up like watching Dallas, and you know, we have always wanted to, you know, we've always wanted to be in business together. And so the fact that sometimes I actually have to pinch myself that we're actually doing it, that we actually get to wake up and and do this business, the work that we love, but do it together. And we just have so much fun, you know, even in the quarantine where we have been kind of, you know, homebound a lot, just the complete laughter. And so I think definitely the thing that I am most proud of is running a family-owned business for 13 years that's thriving and successful.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Do you have any advice for young entrepreneurs thinking about doing the same?
Don't give up.
Don't give up. And
I know that sounds really kind of like, okay, really don't give up. But there are going to come times when the people are going to tell you that it's not going to work. You can't survive. You're not doing it right. You're going to get a lot of negativity. But if it's something that you really, truly believe in, and you really know that that's what your calling is, don't let anyone stop you.
And find your tribe. You know, our tribe is family.
So
you know, like and we have an extended tribe of people who, it doesn't matter what we host. There are some people
we can just call and say, listen, we need you to fill a space.
And they are there. So find a supportive tribe, and you know, and be your own cheerleader. Sometimes and be your own cheerleader, but also find people who support and cheer you on. And that's one thing that I love about working with Dee Dee is like, throughout the day, I will get a text from her, or we're sitting across the room, and I'll get off the phone from a phone call. It could be the most basic phone call, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, that was so amazing. You did such a good job on that phone call," you know, and just being around people who celebrate you. That's my advice. But also, one thing that we learned the hard way, we're communicators. So our business is communication. So just because you are a communicator does not mean that you're a business person. So invest in staff that support your weakness, like the things that you're not strong at. Invest in staff that support that, you know,
that are good at those things.
So
absolutely. But then I have to go back to our family. They're just a group of rock stars. They're a little cuckoo, but they're just a group of rock stars. Her husband, my brother-in-law, my husband, our mom is our scheduler. My children are
unofficial, unpaid interns.
But it really, we couldn't do it without them, and we definitely couldn't do it without the Lord and his guidance and his support. So, you know, just like I said, find your tribe, and never give up.
I love that. One of the questions that came in while you guys were talking was the negativity the biggest challenge? Because you mentioned you just kind of persevere through.
Yeah, and you know, I think the negativity, but also not tracking yourself against other companies or other people. And with the space of social media, you know, you have to be disciplined.
And you get on this bunny trail.
Right. So set your goals, know what your business does, and do it well. Be the best in it, you know. And so there are a lot of people who want to see a train wreck, but as many people that want to see train wrecks, we really are blessed by people who just are so excited and want to see us succeed. And we have to, for sanity, we have to surround ourselves with those people. I will say that because of the work that we're in, 24-hour news cycle, you can work forever. We do encourage you to learn to turn it off. You know, you have to find
And
We're saying we're not good at that.
we're
at
not.
all.
So I
Like,
hope our husbands
running
are
on
not
about-
watching this because they're going to be like, what are they talking about? But there's a young lady that we mentor. Haha, that's funny. And we took her, we were going out to lunch and we were going out to pour into her. And as we're sitting there, she was pouring into us because she works on Capitol Hill and she was
in a very important, busy Senate office.
yes, extremely busy Senate office. But she told us that she turns it off.
And she doesn't let people who are like people who have a lot of stress and anxiety, she just like cuts them off. And we kind of looked at each other like,
whoa, we've got to
we
do
need
that.
to do that.
And so don't surround yourself with positive people who want to see you succeed.
And they exist.
They really do exist. Even if it's just one person, be with that one person.
And even if it's you, give yourself a round of applause.
I love that. Well, so I don't think we have any other questions right now, but I do want to just iterate for everybody that's watching. So this Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, you're going to be doing your national Zoom celebration. Remember the ladies. Who are the guests that are actually joining you?
We're so excited. We're going to have Congressman Sanford Bishop from Georgia. We are going to have Candy Carson from the Carson Foundation.
She's the wife of Dr. Ben Carson and co-founder of the Carson Scholars Fund.
Right.
And we have Dee Dee's very excited. She's a Delta Sigma Theta.
Sorority Incorporated. Our national president, Beverly Smith, will be joining us as well.
And we are also excited to have Sylvie Legree
Legere from the Policy
Circle, another wonderful group that supports women. And we're really excited to have Leah Daughtry, who is one of the, she's just an amazing friend and mentor. She is one of the only person who has been the CEO of 2 national conventions, and she is a co-author of the book Colored Girls,
right?
Talking about her experience in politics over the last decades.
So that is our Suffragette and our Suffrage Sisters who are going to be joining us. And anyone who has not RSVP'd, you can do so by going to suffragesisters.com and sharing your email address with us. Or you can email me or email us at dd@suffragesisters.com and we will send you the confirmation link.
Wonderful. We'll make sure to put this in the comments so everyone can easily grab that. And one other thing, or actually 2 things I would also plug for you guys. This is something that our staff is doing right now. Filming yourself reading the 19th Amendment.
Yes, absolutely.
And posting it on social, Facebook, whatever, but using the hashtag 19A100th. So we'll also add that in there. I think that's a brilliant way to just get out the news about the 100th anniversary and also your documentary. Speaking of the documentary, if anyone is interested in hosting a viewing party, a screening party, I'd also encourage you to reach out to Dee Dee and Deana through that same email that they just posted. And let's see here. Oh, you have a book club. I wanted to mention your book club.
Yes, excited about the book club. We our book club is called Bond Girl Books, and we every quarter we choose a book, and we actually have not chosen. We're after the suffrage event, we will choose the next book, but we've not chosen the book. So if you have suggestions, we'd love for you to share them with us. But you can go to bondgirlbooks.com and follow us there and be a part of the conversation. Those we believe. Our goal is to bring SMART back. We grew up in a house where reading was required, and there are books. It's like that. You have to step over books, and so Dee Dee encourages her kids to read. We are from just a huge family of readers. My husband, her husband, we love books.
So even though it's called Bond Girl Books, men can also join the book club. So, and send us suggestions if you have any.
I love that. Well, you guys are not short on projects and things to do. So thank you for being my inspiration this Wednesday morning. So I'm going to give Us all a round of applause. But thank you so much for joining us, the Bass Sisters, the Suffrage Sisters. Anyways, please follow them on all of their social sites. It's pretty much just at Suffrage Sisters and Bass Public Affairs if you're looking to get some work done this year. But thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you everyone for watching. Take care.